Welcome to Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. You will hear from industry leaders covering innovative, cutting edge business, learning, and HR topics that weave current market research and technology into each episode. Our Excellence at Work podcast is hosted by Brandon Hall Group's Chief Operating Officer and Principal HCM Analyst, Rachel Cook.
Hello, and thank you for tuning into Brandon Hall Group's Excellence at Work podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. I'd like to warmly welcome Anuj Pillai. Hi, Anuj. How are you?
I'm doing good, Rachel. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. And thank you everyone for joining us. And let me share a little bit about Anuj. Anuj is the Associate Director of Business Development at Harbinger Interactive Learning. Anuj intends to transform workplaces with e-learning. He is curious about the future of learning and the use of technology in e-learning and learning and development. He has 15 years of experience predominantly in selling e-learning and technology services. He works with clients to create a measurable impact in their organization to ultimately optimize cost and drive revenue growth. And a little bit about Harbinger Interactive Learning. They are a global design and development company specializing in e learning modernization and custom e learning solution development. They have over 30 years of experience in delivering innovative learning solutions for various verticals like publishing, life sciences, BFSI, retail, and high tech. They are also a bronze preferred provider of Brennan Hall Group, and they won 7 Brennan Hall Group Excellence Awards in 2021. And most recently, just as of last week, we announced the exciting news of 2 Gold Award wins with Vector Solutions and Bryant Group Experience of our HCM Excellence Awards program in 2022. So, congratulations, Anuj.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Thanks for the introduction.
And again, that's you should be very proud of your accomplishments with your team and your clients. I know it's a lot of effort that goes into the work that you do, but also then to take a step back and to reflect and to submit an application in your case study. There's a lot involved, and so congrats on your recognition and being recognized by both our team and also an external team of industry experts.
Thank you, Rachel. And we really are proud of our association with Brandon Hall. It definitely adds up credibility to our organization. So thanks again.
You're welcome, and we're very pleased to be able to partner with you and to see the great work that you do. And today we're going to be talking about increasing product usage and market penetration with extended enterprise learning. And so to begin our discussion today, the extended enterprise has become such an integral part of businesses, and I know that there's been an evolution in how we support them and how we develop them and serve them. So from your perspective, what is an extended enterprise ecosystem and who is it for?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good first question, Rachel. So, before we understand an extended enterprise ecosystem, let me briefly touch upon what is an extended enterprise. Interestingly, the term extended enterprise was coined in the 1990s by Chrysler Corporation to explain the necessity for a collaborative, relationship between its supply chain members and focus attention on the competitive advantages they thought they could bring in when suppliers become partners. Coming back to your question on what the extended enterprise ecosystem looks like, it basically consists of your vendors, channel partners, implementation partners, support teams, resellers, franchisees, suppliers, your distribution network, sales and marketing, etc. So these entities form your extended enterprise. So it's not your on-roll employees; it's part of an extended organization of your company. So, depending on a company's structure and their business model, it is imperative to train each and every extended enterprise teams as if they were part of your own organization. This is because you can get them up to speed with your company goals, product knowledge, features and other aspects of your offerings in order for them to implement and sell better. Rachel, the
Sure.
second, yeah, I'm sorry. The
Oh, no,
second
no,
part of your
continue.
question,
I was just agreeing. Uh-huh.
yeah. So I was just saying about the second part of your question, who is it for? So any enterprise, that is any organization who has a network of partner organizations, this strategy is relevant for them. So this could be across industries like computer software or IT-enabled services, manufacturing, aviation, pharmaceuticals, and many more. So you name the industry, and extended enterprises have been there, as part of the extended arm of the organization. So that's kind of a brief of what forms the extended enterprise ecosystem.
Anuj, so you talked a lot about who the extended enterprise is for, or the development for the extended enterprise, and some of the importance. What are some of the other benefits that you're seeing for in providing learning to the extended enterprise?
Well, Rachel, there are numerous benefits with extended enterprise, and learning or training is a way of ensuring that we get the desired benefits out of the extended enterprise. But let us take a step back and ask ourselves, why do we even need to think of having an extended enterprise learning strategy? The answer to that is, ultimately, whatever we do in business, it is either to increase revenue or to optimize cost. And in most of the cases, we want to achieve both. In today's business environment, it's not just about providing certification or onboarding training to your extended enterprise. It is more about being in close communication with them and creating efficiency. You want the messaging that originates from your organization to pass on to the extended enterprise effectively, and the time it takes to pass the message, and after that, the time it takes for the extended enterprise to implement it or act on it is also very crucial. And by messaging, what I mean is it could be information, it could be training, it could be news, communication, standard operating procedures. It could be multiple forms of messaging. So we are predominantly talking about the brand here, your organization's brand, and see, because extended enterprise are the teams who mostly face the customers. So you want your brand messaging to be communicated effectively, the way you originally intended it to be. Coming to why or what role does learning play in this, or why learning is important. So the external stakeholders, the extended enterprise consists of external stakeholders, and if we have a structured training, content and technologically robust delivery systems in place, like let's say a multi-tenant LMS, it will definitely bring efficiency to your extended workforce. The aim here is, to organize that what is scattered currently with this extended enterprise learning, so that the workforce has access to a single point of truth. And this brings efficiency and return on investment as a strategy.
Of course, and what are some of the parameters to keep in mind while implementing a successful enterprise learning strategy?
Great question, Rachel. And this question is asked by many client organizations when they envision implementing an extended enterprise learning strategy. So I would say few parameters to consider is, first is we need to get buy-in from all the concerned stakeholders. We need to sell this concept to all the stakeholders first. When making a decision about going with an extended enterprise learning strategy, different stakeholders would have different inclinations on why they want to go for it. Let's say the C suite or the CEO or the C level executives or the CFO would like to understand about its utilization, and the ROI it brings to the company. Other stakeholders could be human resources or the learning function. They would be more focused on the current competency levels and the skills of the extended enterprise, and they would be more interested in getting a visibility into it and how to improve it. Then we also have learners, and we can't ignore them now since they are part of the extended enterprise. They would typically, these are outside organizations and they would have their own learning ecosystem. As part of your extended enterprise strategy, it is important to make sure that the learning is not fragmented. There needs to be a single source for the learner, and they need not log into multiple places to access content. Ideally, the learning should be in the flow of their work, and so as to give a good learner experience to the end users. That was the first parameter, getting a buy-in. Second is we need to assess the current tech landscape of your organization. This would include evaluating your legacy applications like your LMS, what integrations are needed, etc. Then third part is, I would say, we need to assess the content landscape. What content is your organization currently having? What is your current library? Do we need to create any more new content, or do we need to modernize the existing content? Do we need to change the modality of the content? For example, you may want to move to a gamification or micro learning based approach, based on your business requirements and target audience. Then I would say another parameter is to really understand your extended enterprise and the target audiences and assess their current learning ecosystem. We would need to understand if they have their own learning infrastructure like the LMS, etc. And how could we potentially merge with their landscape and not create confusion. Then finally, and most importantly, I would say, Rachel, is the organization. We need to take a phase-wise planning and execution. And this is a concern for many organizations. And this is a question that is asked by many of our clients, that do we need to start from scratch with respect to technology and content? And the answer is no. We could very well start with the current landscape and scale up based on our priorities and goals. And this could be done step by step, and it would be good to consider taking consultation or taking help from your e-learning partner organization in this aspect when you're getting started. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, and the point that you made about, the questions that are asked, whether or not do you need to start from scratch, we get that a lot too, for all types of learning, especially when you're exploring new ways of or new technologies and new ways of delivering. I think companies get they become a little bit hesitant because it can be overwhelming, especially if they feel they have to revamp everything and start from scratch. And
Yes, and that
if you
requires investment as well.
yeah, and I don't really see any companies should ever really start from scratch. They should, take a look at what they've done and either modify it or enhance it or deliver it in a different way. So obviously, for new products or new, if there's new products coming out, those things will need to have some nuances or some considerations for what's different. However, there's always a starting point or always something that you can take and make it better. And I think if you look at it that way, it's so much like, for example, if you're writing a paper, so much easier to take a paper that's already written and make that better than starting from scratch, right? When you start with a blank canvas, sometimes that takes a lot longer to then get your juices going and develop something really interesting rather than making something that's already established, making it
True.
better.
True. And as I said, cost is associated, with everything that we do in business. And as I said, companies could take help from their e-learning vendors or partners to kind of help them in the planning phase.
Of course. And what are some of the solutions that you would recommend for organizations that are planning to implement an extended enterprise strategy? You mentioned, making sure that there's the seamless you know, user aspect to it where they're not having to log on to all these disparate systems. So how do you make that happen, or what are some of your recommendations?
Sure. So the solutions, Rachel, will mainly depend on the learning objectives of the organization and what they want to achieve. We have to first understand learning personas for each and every organization, which is part of your extended team, and then propose solutions accordingly. Also, assessing at the beginning about their existing technology infrastructure, as I said before, will help in designing solutions which would be compatible with their environment. For extended enterprise learning, there are mainly two areas in which you can design solution. One is the technology aspect, other is the content aspect. So these two areas are the primary focus. Talking about technology solution, we have something like a multi-tenant LMS that is widely popular because multi-tenant LMSs facilitates you to have organizations within organizations. So technologically, it is very robust and handy when communicating with multiple entities. So that is one aspect to consider. Then we have latest technologies that could be very well leveraged, like AI-driven chatbots, etc. Which can pull in, like, give access to learning on the go to the end users. Apart from chatbots, nudge learning is something that is gaining momentum. It helps to remind the learners on what they have learned already, etc. Then, coming to the content aspect or the content side, a few solutions could be micro learning formats. If you are communicating with somebody, the learners who have less time during the workday and they need information at a glimpse, at an overview level, micro learning is very helpful. If you're dealing with somebody, the audience is relatively young, gamification approach could be taken, and it also has good retention. But as the day is progressing, we are also having newer ways to deliver, create content, like 2D or three-dimensional videos, for example, augmented reality, virtual reality, etc. So these are few of the solutions and modalities one could think about. But again, as I said earlier, which solution would suit best can only be determined once you do an initial analysis of their learning objectives and learner personas.
What are some of the challenges that you are also seeing, or you know, are there challenges that we can anticipate and be able to prepare better for?
True, Rachel. So there are multiple challenges again, and that can bump into while implementing an extended enterprise learning strategy. The initial challenge would be integrating your existing learning ecosystem with the ones being used by your partners or vendors. So making sure to analyze the existing learners' learning stack is a must. Then you might have your partners or customers based out of other parts of the globe or other geographies. So making sure that the content you develop is localized as per their geography, like translating it to the local language, using different images when necessary, or even scripting it in a little different way would connect with them better. The simplest way could be creating the content in English and then translating it into different languages. But the challenges you might face in this scenario is that learners are not hooked onto the content or engaged as much because the visuals might not relate to them. It is exactly like watching a sitcom like Friends in another language altogether apart from English. So another challenge I have observed is the communication. An organization should ensure that the brand or the product conveys consistent messaging throughout all the partner ecosystem. The last thing you pretty much want is to misrepresent or talk different value propositions to your customers about the same offerings. So we need to be kind of understanding these challenges.
Mm, Those are, that's, I think, helpful in thinking through so that you can anticipate the what ifs to have, a better impact. And as we wrap up today, and most importantly, the ROI piece, how do we measure and um, how do we kind of report on that piece?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rachel, again, a very important question. We spoke about this stakeholders earlier, and ROI is something that is very critical to your organization. So, thanks for that question. Well, we spoke about the benefits in the earlier questions about extended enterprise learning, and what ROI would really mean is quantification of these benefits. So what we are actually trying to achieve here with extended enterprise strategy, is try to understand what is it that we are either trying to solve or trying to improve or trying to eliminate by implementing this extended enterprise learning. So these aspects basically form the KPIs, key performance indicators. So we need to be very clear on the KPIs. For example, are you looking to bring down the number of customer service calls by implementing extended enterprise learning? Or are you looking to attend to more sales calls than what you're doing currently? Or another example could be, are you looking to kind of increase the efficiency of your extended enterprise workforce by trying to achieve in 8 hours what you're currently able to achieve in say 12 hours? So so the first step is to lay down these parameters or these KPIs. Then the second step would be to gather the numbers or data around these parameters, your current data, and see how your extended enterprise is currently performing on these parameters. We will later use these numbers to measure the effectiveness of these parameters once we have implemented the extended enterprise learning in the organization. I would also recommend, based on my experience, to have timelines in place for each of these parameters. For example, uh, by when would you like to achieve X KPI? In 6 months, in 12 months, or 18 months. So associate a timeline with these parameters for achievement of these. And now we can either measure the effectiveness from a cost perspective or from an efficiency perspective. So I would say these are the two perspectives how we could measure the ROI. What this means is, you could tag a dollar value in front of each of these parameters, and you should be able to kind of get the ROI in the monetary aspect for each of these parameters. So let's say you are able to kind of take 100 customer service calls in a day, and today with the same workforce you are able to take 150 customer service call. So that is an increase, in the customer service call. So if you're able to associate a dollar value on how much you save, for example, with each of these customer service calls being attended by less workforce, you have the ROI for that particular parameter. Then, other than that, we could also kind of measure it from an efficiency perspective. Let's say in a percentage. So, how much efficiency are you able to bring in these parameters? Is it 10% efficiency in handling customer service calls, etc.? So, efficiency is another important way. And if you are able to calculate that 1% efficiency in this parameter means, a saving or a revenue growth of, XYZ dollar value. So you could kind of measure it in the efficiency perspective. So just to recap, first, identify the parameters or KPIs, then gather the current performance data around these parameters, then allocate timelines for achieving, or gaining importance around these improvements around these parameters, and then implement the extended enterprise learning and calculate the difference in the given time intervals that you have set for yourself. So as I said again, ROI could be measured from a cost perspective or from an efficiency perspective. So hope that helps.
Definitely. And it's really not, I don't want to simplify it, but the way that you described it, if you really think about it, you're just, you're starting at the very beginning and you're thinking through what you're trying to accomplish and in what time frame and what's realistic. And if you could just kind of keep to that formula and keep going back to it and looking at the data, it makes it very much easier for you to be able to express the impact. And if there are issues, you can course correct at any point in time. You don't have to change the entire effort. you could just make small modifications if you see that, this particular aspect is not working, or it's too long, or whatever it might be, not engaging enough, you know, and you can continue and it becomes more fluid. So keep that in mind. And it makes overall, the concept of this seems um, somewhat daunting if you have, if your extended enterprise is a huge part of your business. However, it really is it's your partner, and the more that you support them, and the more that you provide learning opportunities that align with what they are trying to accomplish from a business standpoint is a representation of your business, the better off the both of you are. And so, and with technology and solutions out there, such as yourself, the effort becomes much easier that we're seeing. And, it's definitely achievable. And the impact is, what we're seeing in our research is, you know, it can improve productivity by, you know, exponential amount, depending on where you are in the process and the type of industry that you're in.
Yeah. Absolutely, Rachel. Couldn't agree more, and you have perfectly kind of summed it up. So, as I kind of mentioned in the beginning, it's about either increasing revenue or optimizing cost. And, most of the organizations, large organizations, it is considered that, large elephants cannot move faster. But with extended enterprise strategy, with the systems in place, with the messaging going on smoothly in a very easy way, the implementation happening in a very structured manner, I think large elephants could move faster as well. I mean, companies with large extended enterprise.
Incredible. Yes, I like that analogy. Large elephants
Yeah,
moving fast. Which
yeah.
they can sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Anuj, thank you. Thanks for sharing your perspective. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. And until next time, take care.
Thank you, Rachel. Thanks for the opportunity. Have a good day.